Hello everyone and welcome to the Power BI Desktop December 2019 update. As always, we have a ton of features for you guys, so let's go ahead and get started. First on our list in the reporting section, we've added a new preview feature that allows you to customize the current theme. This is a pretty big feature because before this, you'd have to either write or modify a JSON file if you wanted to update your theme. But now you can do so all simply in the UI. So let's go take a look at a sample report to see this feature in action. In order to try out this feature, you'll need to first make sure that it is enabled under the preview features. So make sure that Customize Current Theme is toggled on. Now, to access the feature, you'll need to click the View tab and then select the drop-down for themes. You'll see a Customize Current Theme, so you'll select that. And then you'll see this new Customize Theme dialog. Here, by default, you'll see all of the values for your current theme already pre-populated. And this is where you can make your quick tweaks and changes that get applied to the report level. So let's go ahead and change a couple of the colors. We'll change this color here, then the hue as well. You can always add in the hex code or RGB value if you already know it. And then let's go ahead and change one more color here. And if we, let's say, aren't happy with the changes we made, you can always hit revert to default, which will take you back to the original theme. Let's take a look at some of the other settings. So if you go to advanced, you'll see that we have a few colors here, and these are used for, let's say, access grid lines as well as text box font. So you can change them from this area. If you move to text, you'll see that these are the report level text that are used. So we have kind of the general text set here, as well as other options for specific settings like the title, cards and KPIs, and tab headers. So let's go ahead and control the size of the KPI font. So let's go and make this a little bit smaller. And then we can also update the tab headers. Let's also make that a little bit smaller. Now moving to our visuals, we have background, border, and header and tooltip controls. So for example, for background, you can change the color and the transparency. For border, you can also choose whether it's on or off, and then as well as control the color and radius. Headers as well. So this is the visual header. You can update background color, border color, as well as transparency and icon color. And then you can also control the tooltips for all the visuals as well. Now moving to our page section, here we'll have the ability to set the wallpaper color and transparency, as well as the page background color and transparency. And finally, we have the filter pane settings, which will allow you to tweak the settings for the filter panes across the report. And this can be the background color and transparency, as well as the font icon color, title size, and header font size. You can also have a little bit more detailed controls here if you want to customize the look and feel of your filter cards for both applied filters as well as filters that are not applied, which are the available filter cards. So let's go ahead and apply some of the changes we made specifically to the KPIs, and we'll see it take effect into the entire report. We have another theme-related update for you guys this month, which is the ability to export the current theme. This is really useful if you've downloaded a report from the web or someone has shared with you a report and you really like the theme and you want to reuse it. This option will allow you to export the JSON for most of our built-in themes. However, there are a couple of exceptions. So with our base themes, classic and default, you cannot export these because these are what other themes build upon when imported. You can find this option under the theming dropdown of the View tab. The next two features in our update this month are unique in that they're developed by a Power BI contributor, James Dales. Let's take a look at the first feature, which is the ability to set a table column or matrix value as a custom web URL. So here in this report, I have a really simple visual here, which is a table with two columns, one for nation and then one for flag. What I want to do is have the values in the nation column be URL links. So here's how I'm going to do that. So I'll need to go into the format pane, and under conditional formatting, I'll see there's an option for web URL. So I'm going to make sure that nation is selected, and then I'm going to turn on web URL. Then I'll get this pop-up, and here I'm going to format by the field value, and I'm going to choose a web URL. So I have in my data set a URL to the flag, so I'm going to select flag URL, and then I'm going to hit OK. And now you see that the value got updated and they now point to this URL. So if I click on it, it'll open up in a new tab. The second feature that James worked on this month was the KPI visual, and he added a lot more formatting options. Let's take a look at what's new. So here's the KPI visual I created earlier. Now let's walk through some of the new formatting options. So you'll notice here is that you can now change the text size and the font family as well as the alignment. So let's go ahead and update the font family here. And then we can keep the alignment like that. We can also update the trend access in terms of transparency. So we can make it more or less transparent depending on our choice. We can also update the goal itself. So the goal is this subtext here. We can change the label for the goal. We can change the font color. So let's modify that real quick. And then the font family and text size as well. We can also modify the distance. So if we want to not show it, we can just remove it like that and it'll just show the goal. So if we keep it, we can tweak the font color and font family as well. And additionally, one thing that's been added is you have the option of adding the date here. So the date will show up as a subtitle below the goal. This month, we've also added several new formatting options for our decomposition tree. Let's see a sample report. So here in the sample report, you'll notice that there is a decomp tree here. And while it does look good, it's not quite aligned with the colors and the fonts in the rest of the report. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the formatting options to see if we can get it to look a little bit more cohesive. So go ahead and click the formatting tab, and let's start with tree. And let's tweak some of these colors here. So let's tweak the primary color and make it this purple. You'll notice we can also have the option to change the density, whether we want it more dense or sparse, but I think right now it's good at default. We can also change a little bit the connector type. So there's a slight nuance here where here's the default look, and then now let me show you round. So you see how it kind of rounds it out a little bit. Now let's go update the data bars. Let's update the positive bar color. Let's also make it a darker purple color. And then we can also tweak the size here. I'm going to make it just a little bit smaller. All right. And now let's update some of the category labels. Let's update the font color here. And let me choose a little bit of a lighter font. And now for the data labels, let's also update the font as well. And finally, let's make some tweaks to the level header. Let's update the font family. And let's make the text size just a tad bit smaller. Great. And then finally, we can update the subtitles there as well. Let's make it just slightly larger. Awesome. So there you have it. In just less than a couple of minutes, I'm able to update the formatting for the decomp tree so it feels a little bit more cohesive with the report. Next on our list is we've added a new filter pane toggle button that is in the new ribbon. Let's take a look at a sample report to see when this might be useful. So in this example report, I'm actually not using the filter pane at all. So meaning I have hidden it to my end users. So if you open up the pane, you'll notice that this little eye icon is scratched out, so it means that report readers do not see the filter pane. That being said, because this report is not even using the filter pane, it maybe doesn't make sense for me to even have the filter pane in view. So, I mean, I can always collapse it, and that was always there before, but if I want to gain a little bit more real estate, with this new toggle, I can completely remove it from my view. So what you do is in the View tab of the new ribbon, you'll see that in the Show Panes grouping, there is a Filters toggle. So when I toggle this off, you'll see that the filter pane is now removed from the view. One really important thing to note here is that just because I'm changing the view in desktop, this setting does not actually impact the view in service. So this is purely for creators to kind of gain back more real estate while they're actually modifying or viewing their report in desktop. If you do want to change the view for end users, this is what I mentioned earlier, is you'll need to toggle this eye icon here to show or hide the filter pane for your report readers. Another good use case of why you might want to remove this filter pane from view is, let's say if you're working on a laptop and you just need a little bit more real estate to work with, let's say smaller visuals, it might help you gain back some more real estate by removing that filter pane, even if the filter pane is still visible to end users. Last on our list in the reporting section is an update to automatic page refresh, or APR for short. We have Miguel here who's going to walk you through what's new in APR.
Thank you, Sujata, and hi everyone. I'm going to show you today a new addition that we have for the automatic page refresh capability, which is basically extra details so you can troubleshoot any problems that you have, or the moment you are enabling it, you have more information on how to set it up. So you can see here we have the same report that we used in the video 2 months ago, and I'm going to turn on automatic page refresh, and you're going to see that I have 5 seconds as the interval. So you can see the report basically trying to update. Some information is going to come in, which in this case are tweets about Power BI and Microsoft. And then you can see that we have this link here that says show details. So as I click on it, you're going to see that we provide you with some extra information. So like I said before, you can troubleshoot your report, or basically just have that information handy in a place when you are authoring a report. In this particular case, we tell you if APR is enabled by your admin in your tenant, in your premium tenant. Also, we tell you the action minimum admin interval that has been set up, which in this case says 1 second, so I can go as low as that. But this is very interesting, which is we have the actual rate at which the data is being refreshed. So remember, there's a query here, it goes to the source, which is direct query, and then it comes back. So in this particular case, even though I have every 5 seconds, you can see that I'm getting a response every 11.8 seconds, and it keeps updating. Other information that we have here is when the last refresh happened, also in case you want to have that handy. So that's it. Automatic page refresh now provides you with these details, so you can go and use them depending on what you're trying to accomplish. Thank you.
Moving on to our analytics section. First on our list is the ability to load more and analyze insights. So if you've used insights features like explain the increase or explain the decrease, you might have experienced a timeout if you have a very large or slow data set. With this new update this month, you can now choose to continue to run the analysis even after that initial timeout. We have one more update in this section, is that we've added a new DAX function quarter. This new function returns the quarter corresponding to a specified date. Moving on to our visualization section, our first update is that the visualization pane personalization feature is now generally available. This feature allows you to pin or unpin visuals to your visualization pane so you can easily find the visuals you want, whether you're creating reports in Power BI Desktop or Power BI Service. This month, we also have several new custom visuals. We want to try something a little new by having the publishers themselves demo their custom visuals. So first we have xViz for the hierarchy tree, bullet chart, parallel coordinates, and Gantt chart.
The hierarchical tree visual of xViz Suite can function in both single measure and dual measure modes. In single series mode, the contribution of each member of the hierarchy is calculated and displayed. The contribution can be disabled with the contribution toggle. Once we add a comparison value field, inbuilt variance calculations are performed to display the absolute variance and percentage variance values. These can be hidden the same way as the contribution. We have 4 types of values to be displayed on the progress bar. By default, the type is set to level maximum, and the exciting option is that we can also display percentage variance on the progress bar. Conditional formatting alerts can be set to the progress bar and node values individually. Advanced Editor lets you apply alerts to the backgrounds and the values extensively. For easy usability of trees with a large number of dimensions and nodes, the visual comes handy with the minimap feature, which helps you pan around the tree seamlessly. In such scenarios, we can also make use of the find and seek search option, as it makes it even more easier to navigate to any specific node in the hierarchy. The tree also comes with a runtime configuration menu, which allows the business users to modify a few of the options, like the order of the dimensions in the hierarchy, custom sorting, showing or hiding the text values on the go. Last but not the least, the hierarchical tree can be used in the expand on-demand mode, where each node can be decomposed into the underlying categorical members.
Bullet chart, you could change the chart orientation from vertical to horizontal and make use of the summary table option to toggle from a chart view to a table. Next, you can customize the markers by changing different shape to color and size. There are a number of different ways in which you can set up the conditional formatting. For example, you can compare with a fixed number, or you could compare with a value assigned to the chart, for example, actual versus forecast, or you could also base it on a calculation. For example, if actual is 1.05 times greater than the forecast value, then the value is green. Now, these rules can also be enabled or disabled during runtime if you'd like. The x-axis properties, you could customize the data series display for better viewing and scroll across the remaining bars. You could also customize the width of the bars, format the axis and its labels for more visual appeal. Moving on to the y-axis properties, you could use the reverse axis property to change the direction and position of the labels, especially useful for languages like Arabic, which are read from right to left. Now, there are a number of ways in which you can set up the comparison band. You could use them as a comparative series, like to compare actual versus previous year value, or you can use them as a qualitative range and have individual values for each bands. You could also customize the colors and add the tooltips and legends to it. Next, under the number formatting property, you could use a semantic formatting for conditional formatting the tooltips and data labels.
The xViz parallel coordinates custom visual primarily helps you visualize data that has a lot of variables linked to it. In this video, we will look at information about various cars and how they get visualized based on multiple variables. The parallel coordinates visual comes with a deck of exciting features which help you customize it to make it visually appealing and at the same time give the right kind of information to the users. Let me pull in a few major categories and values and explain you in what ways we can customize it. In the y-axis section of the Format tab, the position of the category axis can be defined to be either before or after the values, or you can just disable the category axis to just focus on the values. Secondly, the number formatting section gives you the ability to format the values based on your business needs. You can either set it globally for all the values, or you can configure for each value by turning on the toggle for the corresponding value fields. In this case, the pricing of each car might be in US dollars, and so you can add the prefix values, and similarly, the number of decimal places and scaling can also be controlled in just one click. As the visual brings in a lot of values, it might be a little hard to look exactly at the important points on the axis. In that case, the zoom option helps you to just focus on any specific area in the visual. Selecting any specific point highlights all the categorical members which pass through the pane. Also, the axis labels might get hidden in between a bunch of lines, and so you can turn it off to make the visual much more cleaner, or you can turn the data labels on and configure it in such a way that it doesn't get hidden between the lines. You can also configure the color of each line in the data colors section with the toggle option. Apart from these, the parallel coordinates visual lets you customize many other aspects of the visual, like the thickness of the lines, and also provides the ability to export the visual as an image or a PDF.
Choose between a simple Gantt and a resource Gantt chart. For now, we'll have a look at the simple Gantt. Most of the time, report consumers want to set up custom zoom options, which they can now do so by enabling the zoom properties. You can zoom out or zoom in. In case you have configured additional categories or measures to be displayed, you can configure the name and the width of the columns. You can customize the data-gated appearances property and have the ability to collapse or expand all the nodes to the level desired. Next, under the timeline properties, you can customize the look and feel of the header along with the header height, or even have the ability to disable a particular level of the header. So let's say I want only 2 levels, I could do so. You can fix the zoom levels at design time. So let's say you want to display only 2 months at a time, you could do so. Along with that, you can also have a reference line for the current date and a text. Next, you can enable the milestone to be displayed in the parent node. This way, you can view them when the nodes are collapsed. Apart from this, you can also customize the color and shape as desired. There are two options for alerting, either the status flag or conditional formatting, or both. Just like the conditional formatting in bullet chart, you can set your rule here based on any field or value assigned.
Next, we have new visuals from Zebra BI, Zebra BI Charts, and Zebra BI Tables.
Hello, I'm Andre, the founder at Zebra BI. Let me present the Zebra BI custom visuals for Power BI that will make your reports and dashboards actionable and understandable, and save you some time along the way. We have two custom visuals. Let me show you how they work. The first one is called Zebra BI Charts. And let me bring in some sales data, sales value, break this down by month, and I've got a standard column chart, right? Boring, but the magic starts to happen when you compare your sales to your goal or previous year or something like that. So let me bring in the goal, put it into the plan bucket, and what I've got is a waterfall chart explaining that we have 23.1 million plan compared to 22.1 million goal. Oops, I'm 4.7% below the plan. So Zebra calculated all that. You don't need that in your DEX model. But if you click, you get the absolute variance, 1.1 million. You can get both absolute and relative. So all the elements on the visual are completely interactive and dynamic. It's not just one chart. We've packed a number of business charts into the same visual. So you simply click on the slider, get another chart. This is a column chart, area charts, line charts for trends, and so on. Now in the waterfall chart, you can break the axes, things like that. And if I come back to my column chart here, this will be the trademark feature of Zebra BI. The visuals are completely responsive. So if I make the chart bigger, I don't just get a bigger chart, I get another chart with more information. So I get the relative variances, and if I make it even bigger, now I've got the base values, the absolute variances, the relative variances, right? Now the feature that we are most famous for are the small multiples. So small multiples in Power BI, finally possible with the Zebra BI visuals. I'll bring in my product categories, and the same visual now renders 10 charts. All right, 10 charts because I have 10 products. So this is called a small multiple, like this. It works with all the chart types, so you can simply slide, through your chart. So coming back to my waterfall charts here, you can click on any setting. All the settings work interactively and extremely fast. So now to the second visual, which is called the Zebra BI tables. I'll do something similar, bring in the sales value, compare this to my goal, and break this down, this time by product category. All right, so this is now my sales breakdown by products, and this visual is again completely responsive. So if I make it wider, I'll just get all of those charts, right? But these are not just charts. You can click on any column header to sort by different criteria. You can hide, the columns that you don't need. You can even customize every column, change the chart type, make it like as a table, and so on. And for a real case, right, you typically would need a hierarchical view, so you can bring in additional data fields, like in my case, the stored chain. I'll just add this to my visual, and now, again, the view has changed, and this time I have nice, expandable, collapsible matrix, which is basically a Power BI matrix on steroids. You can build a hierarchy in columns as well, so if I bring in my period calculations, I get 3 segments in my table. I can reshuffle the columns around or even hide certain columns only from specific groups. All this works great with income statements because there's an additional feature that lets you set subtotals and costs on each individual row. So search for Zebra BI on the marketplace and just try it yourself.
Now let's see a demo of the drill down combo bar by ZoomCharts.
The drill down combo bar visual is the latest addition to the ZoomCharts interactive custom visuals family. It's a visual meant for categorical data exploration, and some of the key features that it has to offer are interactive drill downs that work as a slicer for the rest of the page, rich customization options for each of the 12 series. And one of the things that you can do through this customization is actually you have the chance to switch between different chart types that is used for the series. So if you go to the formatting options, you can change it to be either a bar, a line, or an area. But that's not it. Through the formatting options, you can also stack and cluster the chart in different variations. So for stacking, we have 3 options available right now. We support normal stacking, 100% proportional stacking, and zero-based stacking. On top of it, you can start to cluster the stacked series in different groups as well. So this is something that we want to bring to the table as a new addition. We also added the ability to add either static or dynamic thresholds. The dynamic thresholds work, for example, like in this case where we have the average of 2.25 million. But if I drill down into one of the categories, you can see that this number is being recalculated and it's now 289,000. One thing I wanted to note here is that the dynamic threshold is being calculated based on the visible data. So if I start to move the chart up or down, you can see that the number is being recalculated again based on the columns that are visible within the chart. And as for the interactions, we have the back and zoom out buttons, which just help you to navigate through the chart. Then, of course, this visual has ZoomChart signature drill down with smooth and animated transitions between different data levels, which is enabled by just a simple click on a column. If you long press on one of the columns you selected and filter it out, if you hold down Control and click on multiple columns, you can create multiple selections. To undo selections, you simply need to click on one of the x-axis and that deactivates the filter. And the last one is the ability to move the chart in any direction. Simply click and hold the leftmost button and adjust the visible amount of data that you have on the chart.
Next, we have a demo of the Annotated Bar by Queryon.
Annotated Bar by Queryon combines bar chart functionality with customizable labels. Bar styles include stacked, side-by-side, and overlapping, also known as bar-in-bar. Overlapping bars help visualize the comparison between two things when one is inherently a part of the other. For example, project budget versus spend. Let's go through the creation of the project budget. First, we'll select our visual, and let's add our fields. Go to Under Format, and it's nice to have all this information here, but we don't need to see the not exceed. So we will remove that here. It would also be nice to call out the importance of the not to exceed. So let's go to Label Formatting and change it. This is looking nice, but let's change the style. Right now we are using fully overlap, but we also have inside staggered, which is a nice repartition to show you where your spend is at and where your budget is at and how we do not want to exceed. This visual tool is really quite flexible. With a little bit of work, you can get a timeline or the melting points of all the elements. All it takes is a bit of effort and some imagination.
The last custom visual demo is for the Tachometer 5 ranges visual by Dimensional Strategies.
The 5-range tachometer, developed by Dimensional Strategies Inc., is a descriptive graphic that allows you to visualize your data and showcase it using 5 different ranges. This graphic is ideal for visualizing company performance in comparison to the set targets, client satisfaction levels, scores, and so on. For today's demo, our chart plots the customer satisfaction rating for a company called Contoso based on their online surveys. For this chart, the actual value and the target value by year and customer category are coming from the dataset, while the limits of the scale ranges are configured in the visual itself. To begin the demo, let's select the custom visual. Then from the customer satisfaction measure, select Satisfaction Rating. Drag it to Value. We will then rename it to Customer Satisfaction in this case. Once done, we will select Target Rating. Then drag it to Value and rename to Target. We could configure the ranges to be based on the dataset, but in this case they will be configured in the visual. We will now explain the process of changing the format of the visual. Move to Format section, go to Gauge Axis, set the start value to 0 and end value to 100. We can change the start and end angles to set the desired layout. -90 to +90 for a semicircular layout. We will go back to -120 to +120 for this demo. We will configure the ranges now. For ranges, we can start with configuring the start value of the range. Range 1 will not have a start value as it is the beginning of the chart. We will now configure color to red. We can change the thickness from 0 to 100 all the way to center. For range 2, we will change the color to yellow and thickness to 50 and start value to 30. For range 3, we will change the color to gray, thickness to 50 and start value to 45. For range 4, we will change the color to light green, thickness to 50 and start value to 60. For range 5, we will change the color to dark green, thickness to 50 and start value to 80. We can choose to show or hide the target value. We will now configure the color of the line and text size, and the size of the target line. For the indicator, we can change the needle color, size, base color, and the base thickness. You can have access labels on or off, change color, display units, and text size. We will round off the access numbers so that we don't display uncommon values. For the bottom callout, we can configure the color, text size, offset location. We can move it a bit higher. We will change the Y offset to 15 for this demo. We can repeat the same process for the callout percentage. We can also change all the normal Power BI visual properties like title, margins, background, position, border, and so on. Once done, you can also customize the size of your visual. That's all for this demo. Feel free to write to us for any doubts and queries.
We have one more update in our visualization section. ValQ for modern digital planning now has a new, more affordable per-user pricing model and freemium offering. Anyone interested in budgeting, forecasting, simulations, or what-if analysis should for sure check out ValQ. They've also recently released a new version, 1.5, so stay tuned for more details in a future blog post.
We've got a lot of updates for you on the data connectivity end, as you can see. So let's open up Power BI and check them out one by one. So first, for the past few months, the Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2 connector was available as a beta connector in Power BI Desktop. But today, we're happy to announce that the connector is now supported for the Power BI Service refresh and has also reached general availability. We can find the connector in the Azure category of the Get Data dialog right over here. Next, let's talk about data flows. Data flows have been one of the greatest additions to the Power Platform over the last year. They enable self-service data preparation and reusability of data for users across Power BI, Power Apps, and the rest of the Power Platform. With this month's release, we're releasing a new Power Platform Data Flows connector that allows you to create reports in Power BI on top of data flows created from Power Apps environments. This new ability is designed for users who mainly work and develop inside Power Apps and have existing data flows that they would like to leverage inside Power BI. The connector can be found in the Power Platform category of the Get Data dialog right over here. Next, we have a couple updates to existing connectors. The first one is the PostgreSQL connector, which now includes the Npgsql provider. So this means that with the out-of-the-box experience, you no longer need to install Npgsql yourself. In addition, the Power BI service now supports cloud-to-cloud refresh of PostgreSQL. If you want to continue using your gateway for firewall-related reasons, you will still be able to do so. Further, the AtScale connector is now generally available. So we'd like to thank everyone who shared feedback while the connector was in beta to help us get into GA. We can find that connector over here in the database category of the Get Data dialog, right down here. Next, we have some new connectors for you. The first one is the Azure Time Series Insights connector. Azure Time Series Insights is an end-to-end platform as a service offering that's used to collect, process, store, analyze, and query data at IoT scale that is highly contextualized and optimized for time series. Time Series Insights now seamlessly integrates with Power BI, providing you with more powerful visualization and dashboarding capabilities over your streaming data. This allows you to share your insights and results across your organization. Our next new connector for you is the Data Virtuality connector. The Data Virtuality Logical Data Warehouse is a high-performance data virtualization solution that allows you to leverage your existing data environment through instant data access, data centralization, automation, and data governance. So this solution marries two distinct technologies to create an entirely new way to integrate data. The combination of data virtualization and next-generation ETL enables an agile data infrastructure with high performance. With the Data Virtuality Logical Data Warehouse, you can connect to multiple data sources and query data by using SQL regardless of the format of the source file. This enables you to integrate your data and create a central data logic that covers the business logic and the logical connections between the two different systems. Lastly, we are introducing the Zucchetti HR Infinity connector. Zucchetti HR software supports the HR department in valuing talents, improving the corporate environment, and reaching strategic goals. In fact, the unique database and its native integration guarantees the optimization of all administrative, management, and HR analysis processes. Next, we've got a couple updates for you to AI Insights functions. So last month, we released Azure ML, text analytics, and image tagging in preview. This month, we have some updates to those features. The first is that when you connect to an Azure ML model, the columns in your table are automatically mapped to similarly named procedures in that model. So, for example, if the model is expecting amount, product type, and tenure, then the columns in your table with those names are automatically selected from the drop-down menu. Second, some users might have experienced an issue with retrieving the text analytics and image tagging functions even though you have a premium capacity. This happened only for capacities where the admin hadn't made changes to the AI workload settings, and we've since fixed that issue. We've also got a few updates for you on template apps, so let's jump right in. The first is that Omnichannel Insights for Dynamics 365 supporting chat, bot, and SMS channels is now generally available. Omnichannel Dashboard helps supervisors with insights on operational metrics across different channels, queues, bots, and agents. It also uses AI to provide in-depth sentiment analysis to help supervisors take actions to improve customer satisfaction. This template app has 2 dashboards and 6 visually rich report pages with filters for supervisors to get a summary on how their organization is engaging with and connecting to their customers through Omnichannel for customer service. The Omnichannel Sentiment Analysis dashboard that you can see here provides an overview of important KPIs and trends relative to the sentiment analysis of conversation offered. With this release, you can download the Power BI reports and customize them to meet your organizational needs. Keep in mind that Omnichannel for Customer Service is a paid add-on to the Dynamics 365 customer service apps that use the unified interface, so it's available only when you purchase a subscription to the Chat for Dynamics 365 customer service or Dynamics 365 for digital messaging. If you want to learn more about Omnichannel or configure it for your organization, go ahead and check out the Omnichannel documentation that we have linked. We are also very excited to announce that Customer Service Analytics for Dynamics 365 is now available. The Customer Service Analytics dashboard provides information about the historical operational metrics and KPIs to effectively manage contact centers. If you want to learn more about Customer Service Analytics, this template app, and how to configure it for your organization, go ahead and check out the documentation that we also have linked. Our final template app update for you is Microsoft Forms Pro for customer service. Microsoft Forms Pro is an enterprise survey capability that helps businesses obtain the feedback they need to make smarter decisions. It enables you to collect feedback using surveys and connect the survey response data with business data to obtain meaningful insights. If you're using Forms Pro to collect customer feedback after a case is resolved in Dynamics 365 customer service, you can automate this feedback collection and association of survey response data with case data. The Forms survey response data will be stored in the same Dynamics 365 organization along with your business data. The Forms Pro customer satisfaction app will enable you to get analytics combining this survey data and case data as well. To connect this to the Dynamics 365 customer service instance, you'll need to provide the URL for your organization and the credentials for authentication. This template app brings together the survey feedback and Dynamics 365 customer service data into a 3-page report that provides a great out-of-the-box experience for customer service managers. The first page, shown here, contains an overview of the survey response data and provides metrics like NPS, NPS trend, a word cloud of the customer verbatim phrases, and a number of survey invites and responses. It also provides NPS distribution with respect to the different case parameters like location, case priority, case origin, case type, and product. The second page, shown here, provides an agent-centric view of the satisfaction data. So this page helps customer service managers to analyze an agent's performance based on survey responses. They can view how the customer service agents are performing and what feedback the customers are providing about those specific agents. Lastly, the third page provides a customer-centric view of the satisfaction data. So this shows the satisfaction rating trend for the customers as well as their feedback. If you want to learn more about this template app, feel free to check out the documentation, which we have linked. For all 3 of these template apps, you can download the app from AppSource. And that's all for this month. So please continue sending us your feedback. Don't forget to vote for all of the other features that you'd like to see in Power BI Desktop. Remember, that's at ideas.powerbi.com. For any of these preview features, you can always give us your feedback in our active community forum. And we really sincerely hope that you enjoy the December 2019 update. We'll see you next year.